CineNerds, I hope you're listening because we got a big one to talk about. Tonight marks a very important night for us. This is our 100th episode you're about to watch and listen to. So please, we hope you enjoy it, but we got a few things to tell you before we start it. Go ahead, JP.
100 episodes. It's took us 2 years, actually under 2 years to get here, but we've done it. 100 episodes. There's a lot of podcasts that don't get this far. They give up before they even get started. Here we are at 100. So here's to 100 more, and we want to thank all of you in our live chat. Not just all of you in our live chat. Everybody who's listens to the audio versions. We have a lot of audio listeners, not just here in the U.S. We have a lot of people overseas that listen to us, and we want to thank each and every one of you for doing this solid of listening to us every Thursday or every week. We love doing this. We love talking movies, and me and Ryan, we love doing this for you guys.
Yes, and to piggyback off that, so for me, the ability to consecutively we haven't had to repeat an episode or we haven't had to show a rerun. We've kept consistent and bring new material every Thursday. And you guys have shown up in the chat. You guys have been engaging. You guys have been there with us, ranking your own movies, telling us what you like, your dislikes. And we love hearing it. We want to keep that growing. So we can't tell you what this means to us to keep bridging this forward and to keep playing, playing movies and reviewing them and telling you our thoughts and hearing yours. It just means everything to us. So sincerely, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much for being here through these 100 episodes.
All righty. And again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And now we're going to dive into our weekly episode.
Here's Bring Her Back. What is going on, CineNerds? Ryan here.
And I am JP Cross, and I'm here to bring her back.
That's not what we chose. Oh my goodness. No, I'm just kidding.
So,
Um,
so to start with, click like, share, subscribe, write a review, click follow, share the YouTube, share the Spotify, share the Apple Podcast, share the Facebook. Sharing is caring, and do all the above.
you took my line. You took my cheesy line. No, but to that point though, guys, we are trying to get out there a lot more. We're trying to spread the word. So any little bit of sharing and sharing our posts, sharing our videos, anything helps. So just help us grow the audience so we can have more people in these chats. And every week it's more and more fun. I feel in our live chats on YouTube, and I want to keep that growing. It's a good family in there.
Yeah, I mean it all helps because our numbers go up and they go down, they go up, they go down, but we want to keep them at least maintained, and we want to maintain them and keep them growing. So that's what we're shooting for. So any sharing and any help is appreciated.
And I'm going to continue to do these 1 minute reviews, and I think JP is going to continue to do what were you doing? Your
I'm gonna
recommendations.
yeah, I'm gonna start doing recommendations, but I'm gonna start doing a 10 days of. So like a 10 days of this studio, or 10 days of this genre, or a 10 days of blah 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 is what I'm gonna be doing. And I was already going to actually be back on them and start my first 10 days of, but I have still been having issues and being sick, so I've not gotten my first 10 done yet. But I do have the list written, so I am going to start recording them and getting them out there this within the next week.
One more thing before we go into this bring her back awesome deep dive. Uh, I definitely appreciate recommendations for these 1 minute reviews. 1 minute reviews for me are quick, they're easy. I watch a movie pretty much every night. So I've had some requests to do entire franchises too. I think Megan was the one who asked for that. So I've got a couple I'm going to explore there too. So definitely tune in, not just to the CineNerds podcast on TikTok, but also the Nerdy Viking, where I post my stuff initially, and then JP moves it over to the page.
I will say this, I feel I hate that I feel like I have to explain these 1-minute reviews or the 1-minute recommendations that I'm doing. But unfortunately, I have to explain because I had somebody actually be a complete jerk to me the other day, and I'm just going to call them out because that's what I do because I don't mind. So I've been doing the 1-minute recommendations, and I had somebody actually respond with, "Won't you post a video about a movie you don't like?" If I'm doing 1-minute recommendations, why would I post about a video I don't like? My response to him was very diplomatic. I'm going to say, I told him, I said, if you want to see something that I'm not recommending when these are called 1-minute recommendations, I'm not going to recommend a movie that I don't like to you. If you want to see me talk about a movie I don't like, join our actual podcast. Then you're going
Yeah.
to
Oh,
start. Then you're going to
Jesus.
start what? Then you're going to start seeing some films that I don't like, and
JP and
that's what I
I
told him.
differ.
And that's what I told this guy. I was like, is he doesn't listen to the podcast. He was just watching the reels, and he wanted to be a jerk. And so I actually said, if you want to see something that I don't like, join our podcast. Watch our podcast. Listen to our podcast. Because when I'm doing a reel and I'm doing a recommendation, and that's what my videos are, they're recommendation videos, I'm not going to talk about films that I dislike.
And to that point, I'm also doing the 1-minute reviews, and I did the 31 Days of Horror, and the a multitude of those movies. I think only a couple of them I didn't really care for, but I'm enjoying those movies because they're horror. So you're gonna see some ones like there's some ones on our letterbox that I just shredded. So I mean, we have different opinions all the time, and that's what we're here for. It's a podcast. We're having fun with movies.
And that's not to say I may not eventually do some 10 films that I do not recommend. That may happen. That could be another top 10 list from my reels. But when I'm doing recommendations, don't call me out on. Tell me about a movie you don't like. So all right, there's my soapbox.
Bring her back. This
So
is a
Ryan made me watch Bring Her Back, and this is one. And I'm interrupting him. Look at him. He's mad about it.
oh, I'm not mad.
This is one that I did not have any desire to watch, to see, because I hated. You hear that, guys? A movie I hated. I hated um this person's previous movie with was it Let Her In or
Talk
whatever
to
it
me.
was. Talk to me. That was it. The one with the hand and they hold the dead hand or whatever. I hated that film. Like so when this movie came out and I knew it was from those directors, writers, or whatever, had no desire to see this film. Was not going to watch this film solely based on their previous film, and till Ryan made me watch this.
So to that point, the Filippo brothers, right? They are the ones who directed this. They also had a part to do in the production of The Babadook, and they also directed Talk to Me, obviously, and now Bring Her Back. These guys, I see a reoccurring theme here consistently with loss, and how people cope with loss. Whether it be wanting to reach the other side, commune with your lost loved ones, whatever it may be, and that carries through in this movie more so than any, because at the end of this movie they had a different ending that was a darker ending, and they lost a friend of theirs, theirs by the name of Harley. Harley was 22 or 23, and they talked about the abruptness of death and how real it can be and how it impacts our lives. So this movie ended up having a much more emotional ending. But that said, Babadook, with their background kind of being on that production aspect, took them in to Talk to Me. I think Talk to Me was much more of a streamlined Hollywood typical movie where they were kind of told what they couldn't do, and they did have success with that, even though both JP and I didn't really care for that. And then Bring Her Back. To me, this one is their fuck yeah moment because they seem to have been given more abilities, more things to work with what they wanted, and it paid off.
Yeah, and Uh, I was I had actually I have a coworker that watches this show. She used to comment. She'll comment every now and then. She comments under Carrie Johnson. She had asked me about this film when I told her we were going to be reviewing this, and she said, "Well, I've been wanting to watch this. How is it?" And my response to her was, "This movie's not going to be for everybody. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. We'll wait till the end for that. But I am going to say this movie is not going to be for everybody. There is stuff in this movie that really, 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 really um, bothered me. As in like some of the body horror. This has a lot of body horror.
And so, by the way, this is our second attempt at filming this. So we had numerous times before of going through the motions here. So we're getting a good feed now. But in the last filming, I mentioned this numerous times, but it is 43 minutes and 40 seconds for the mark. That is, if you took the movie right to that moment and hit pause and looked at your screen, you'll forever remember that moment. That's how shocking this moment is. But it's amazing. It's definitely a jaw dropper.
It'll fuck your world up. Did mine.
Mm. Especially if you're somebody, and I'll without getting too much into it, it does involve teeth. So if you don't like the thought of teeth being messed with in any way, shape, or form, this this scene's gonna make your skin crawl. It made mine crawl because I have dreams about losing my teeth all the time, and it freaks me the hell out. I don't want to lose my teeth. So when I saw this scene and felt the horror, if you've ever cut your hand or a finger with a knife that was sharp, it slid by quickly. Imagine that, and then think teeth, and we're getting somewhere. You can't see right now, but I'm looking at JP. Those of you listening, and JP's cringing, the shoulders up in the air, shaking his head no and smiling.
It's rough, man. It's a hard watch. Now, and like I said, we was recording this for our technical difficulties. We recorded all this before. I'd actually said in my notes I didn't write many notes for this film because I did get so into it that I stopped writing notes. But my first note was took 45 minutes to get to the first wow moment, and 43 minutes. I wrote 45. I kind of rounded it up, but yeah, no, this movie it takes a minute. It takes a minute to get there, but
So them being involved
when it does, it gets there.
the Filippo brothers being involved with Babadook. Babadook was in that same vein to me. At the first, like I want to say, the first hour of Babadook was painfully slow, and the last like 40 minutes of it kicked ass. I was definitely good for the last 40 minutes, but that one was so painfully slow that it bothered me. This one's a different kind of slow because there's so much going on. I felt engaged. I had more questions. It kept me pulled in until we got to that 43-minute mark.
Yeah, and I'm not a Babadook fan. Yeah, I'm not a fan of a lot of this elevated horror. Some of it's okay, but it's a lot of this what they call elevated horror that's gotten popular over the past 10, 15 years. It's a bog. A lot of these movies are a fucking bog. It's like it takes an hour and a half to get to something that's actually good, and it's like,
Yeah,
why?
we talk about this often. Our favorite word with movies is pacing. Like pacing can either kill a film or it can make the film amazing. So if you keep them pulled in, cool. But this whole fucking hour long build up in a 2 hour movie is not necessary. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a song. If you don't have that hook within the first few seconds of a song, you've already lost your audience.
Absolutely.
It's the same with movies. If it takes you a fucking hour to get there, to not give me much of anything until an hour into it, you've lost me
Now that's
as a viewer.
now that said, the first 10 minutes pulled me in for this movie because in the
The,
first 10
it,
minutes
the first 10
you
minutes
had
of
the
this has a bit of a hook in it. I will say that this movie is slow for the first 45 minutes, but the first 5 minutes of this film will hook you in. It's
yeah,
just that
because
it's that 40 minutes in between that first 5 minutes and that big scene at 43 minutes is it's a bit of a slog.
so that said, let's dig into this a little bit. So that hook, that first 10 minutes, you see a bunch, it's a VHS recording a bunch of what looks like cult like people and possessed people in a room. And then it goes from there to this stepsister, stepbrother. The older brother's almost 18. The younger girl's, I'm guessing 10. I don't know her age exactly. 10 to 12, somewhere in there. She's older. But their father passes away and they show everything as it happens. We don't know how. JP and I discussed that bothers us a little bit, but there are some elements that kind of may or may not explain that. Um, but the that first 10 minutes, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'm intrigued. And then from there, it's a lot of, okay, these two are going to a foster home now that their father's deceased because their mother was already out of the picture. They're going to a foster home, they're being placed. And then in that instance, they start noticing little things that are happening. So it takes a while, but some of the things that are happening, those question marks for me are what kept pulling me in.
Yeah, and the big thing for me was what annoyed me for really for a good point part of this film was how did the father die? You know, the father dies. They find him. He's covered in vomit in the shower, and it doesn't explain. It just says, "Oh, your father's dead," and they send him to foster care. And it's never really explained how he actually dies. And so most of the movie, I've had that in my head, like you know, what happened to him? He didn't seem like he was that old. He didn't seem like he wasn't like some obese guy or something. You know, it was just that was a big question for me that never really got answered.
And to that point, so I think I told JP in our previous recording this, I think, but I'd have to go back to confirm. There's a moment where Laura is twisting her words closer to the end. I want to say like the last half hour, and she's telling Andy while they're in a hospital setting. She's telling him that something about the way his father died, but she like does this sneaky underhanded thing. It sounded like she said, "When I killed your father." And then she redoes her words like that's not what I said. She didn't say that, but she repeats it, and it's not the same as what she said. And so I caught that. The other part is right before that, Andy's having a dream about his dad, and his dad has the same eyes. For those of you uh, who aren't watching and just listening, there's the movie poster for Bring Her Back. You can see very clearly this young boy. He has demonic looking eyes. They're red with blue center irises, but they're very intense. And the father in this dream has those same eyes, and he's telling the boy basically, "Hey, save your sister," in a roundabout way. And so when I saw the link with that too, I'm wondering if this was all like arranged, if this demon had these things in motion. There's so many question marks with it, but I like that too.
Yeah, it's this film has a style to it. I will say that this film has a style to it that, man, it's it's creepy. And it keeps you interested. Just the shots alone. I mean, with kind of like you were saying, that shot with him seeing his father come into the shower, you know, with him, or into the bathroom while he's in the shower. That sounded a little fucked up. He comes into the bathroom while he's in the shower, and it's fucking weird. And then just the vibe that the caretaker, the foster parent gives, like you know that there's something freaky with this woman. You know, every scene in this film, I will say, can make you uneasy to a certain degree, and that's one thing I really love about this film, especially comparing it to their last film that was just trash. You know, I didn't get this type of vibe out of that last film. This film, you can take every scene in this film and get an uneasy feeling out of it.
For sure. And I should elaborate further on the shower thing. So the father, when they find his body, he has passed away in the shower. So I don't know if he fell, hit his head, whatever the case. The father has passed away in the shower. So this gives trauma to Andy, the older brother, who can't even go into the shower without remembering that moment. And he also his sister, um, uh, I'm gonna remember her name, Piper. Piper's the younger girl. She is visually impaired, and that's a big part of all this too, because the woman who takes them in, her name's Laura, and Laura's daughter has passed away at the same age Piper's at. And when Laura's daughter passed away, her name was Kathy. She was also visually impaired, and she had drowned in their pool in the backyard. And that's where like some of these opening sequences come in really uneasy. So like when Andy and Piper get to the house, they're going out the back door. They're kind of exploring the new surroundings, and they see this empty pool. The cat runs by their feet to go out the door as the woman Laura says, "Don't let the cat outside." She's very emphatic about it, and we find out why. It's because the other adopted child, Ollie, who's in the movie poster, that's the young person in that movie poster, has the demonic possessed eyes. So that kind of leads your direction with that. But Ollie eventually standing in the center of this pool where her daughter had passed away, holding the cat, hurting the cat. And so Laura runs out, grabs the cat, and you kind of start getting an uneasy vibe right in that moment. You don't know what's going on. Ollie is mute. Ollie doesn't speak. They don't know why. And questions start arising already.
Yeah, and did we explain exactly
Oh,
their
what they're doing.
what they're doing with the videos that she's watching and
So
whatnot?
so I'm gonna try and explain this best I can, and bear with me because it was a rabbit hole when I went down it trying to understand it myself. So Laura believes that these creatures or these things that are in the video, the VHS video she watches and that we see in the beginning of the movie, she believes them to be angels. Because when you look at this back, when you go back and explore this entity, angel, demon, whatever, is not really acting evil per se. It's trying to bring back somebody that's a loved one, and that's Laura's intention. She wants her daughter Kathy back. The way that this happens with these entities is that the entity needs a shell, which is Ollie or a kidnapped missing boy named Connor, as we come to find out. She has named him Ollie, and I'm going to dig into this a little bit too. Ollie is also the name of her nephew. And there's a part where Piper, who's visually impaired, is asking what Ollie looks like. And Laura describes him not as he looks, but as her nephew, the real Ollie, looks. So that this visually impaired girl could just say, hey, this is what he looks like if she ever needed it. So that said, Ollie is mute for a reason. It's because this angel, demon, whatever, has taken over his body. He can't speak. He just wants to feed. She has to feed this creature. She keeps it contained by circles. For whatever reason, circles keep this thing contained and under control to the point where she rubs circles on the top of its head to control it. Window on the window, she paints circles of blood around the property. There's a giant white outline. We see Ollie get brought past that line at one point, and we'll get into that in a minute, but we see Ollie get brought outside of that line and all of a sudden is writhing in pain and screaming, and you don't know why. Now, back to what's going on with this creature. The creatures operate in the sense that they need to take a host, then they need to consume the dead body of the person who you're trying to bring back, and then they consume that soul and regurgitate the soul back into another vessel, but that vessel has to have passed away by the same means that the other person died. So this pool was empty when they get there, and at some point the pool is filled back up. We'll just say that before we dive deeper.
And I've watched enough Supernatural to know that that big giant white circle around the house, the perimeter of the house, is salt, and that holds in demons.
But is it? Is it solid? It looked like paint, and she had that paint can at the one point. She's sitting at the ledge of the pool. It was
When
right after the incident.
she was painting the pool, it showed her actually painting the
Oh,
pool.
that's right. She was
Yeah,
fixing it to get it ready.
yeah.
That's right.
I understood that as salt. That's what I assumed it was. It was
Normally,
that's salt.
normally I say that too, but I just wasn't sure because it was so white. I was like, maybe
Yeah,
it's paint.
yeah. That's what I understood. It was salt, and then even when it rained that one time, it started washing away. So
So also to build into this, so not Connor, sorry, Andy, the older brother, he is 3 months away from he's 3 months away from being able to have guardianship of his sister himself. He feels very, very he needs to take care of Piper because he is her guardian. He wants to make sure she's safe. He knows she's visually impaired. He wants to make sure she's always okay and he protects her all the time. So Andy, though, Laura is trying to get him out of the picture. She needs to paint him as a villain so that they will remove him and not allow him to have guardianship, and she can take on Piper and eventually make Piper back into Kathy, her own daughter. With that said, Andy and Piper attend their father's funeral because it's that abrupt. Everything happens in a short window. They attend their father's funeral. And afterwards, Laura, who is a self professed therapist, said she worked with kids for years, which we found out she did. She worked for 20 years with the agency that placed these kids. So until her daughter's death. So that said, Laura makes him look like the bad guy. They celebrate this evening after the father's funeral, and they all drink together. They all have fun. They're laughing. They're dancing. Well, when Andy passes out, she pisses in a cup and she pours it all over him to make it look like he pissed himself. And starts kind of painting these pictures to the blind girl Piper to not have as much faith in her brother. And it starts going from there. And there's a moment where Piper is going somewhere, I forgot where, and Laura leaves Andy with Ollie. And this is where we get to that 43-minute mark. 43 minutes and 40 seconds. Ollie is handing a snack, or sorry, Andy is handing a snack to Ollie. And it's on a butcher knife and it is cantaloupe. And just hands it to Ollie, thinking Ollie would be fine with it. And he goes down, he's looking at pots and pans, he comes up, and you can hear the palate bone grinding against the blade of the knife as this knife is in his mouth. He's just chewing on a knife straight up with that cantaloupe. You see teeth, you see everything. It is so visually intense, and it took me back. If you don't like your teeth being messed with, oh my god, it was awful.
Yeah, it's an awful scene. Sorry, my for people who's watching, my Halo light just went haywire and cut off. So like I'm got a little dark right now. But um, that scene, oh my god, this kid is gnawing on this knife, and dude, he's is going into his gum. It busts his teeth and slices through his teeth. Dude, this scene is awful, and the practical effects, or I'm assuming it's practical effects, or whatever kind of effects they used in this scene. Like you can actually see the gouge up into his
Ah,
gums, up into his gums, and
oh,
it is fucking awful. I cannot describe how awful this scene is. Like it's
but
disgusting. It's
as a
fucking disgusting.
yes, it is, and it definitely makes your skin crawl. But as a horror fan, I was watching the movie with my wife. I was already into the movie, and then that happens, and I was like, "Here we go, here we go. All right." I was like, "This is turning into something." I'm really getting pumped, and it just spirals from there.
Yeah, no, it's and from this point on, this movie actually does really, really, really pick up.
And from here, this is what I was talking about, where Andy thinks that he's like, "I need to get Ollie to the hospital. I need to get Ollie to the hospital," and starts taking him outside of the house. Ollie's not doing anything except for complaining about getting towards that line. So he's just screaming and whatever as they get towards the line, but he's not in pain from what he's just done to himself. So as they get to that line, that he freaks out because they cross the line. He can't move. He's paralyzed, screaming in pain. And Laura gets home at that moment. Why did you take him out of the house? Why did you take him out? And she pulls him back inside the line, and things start to calm down. But she has to take him upstairs to the room area where she keeps Ollie, and she has to do the circles on top of his head and show him play this a videotape with the chanting in the background too. So it's creepy shit.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much uh I mean, there's a constant thing with the circles, and then she even does it with blood across on the window outside when he goes really crazy. And there's another really grotesque scene, and for life of me, right now, I cannot remember how it gets to it, but he starts ripping at his arm.
Oh, and he's eating his own arm. He's
Yes,
literally
yes,
biting his arm and pulling back pieces of skin.
yeah, and I mean, and ripping.
How about when he was
Ah.
how about when he was because he was so hungry because he's trying to consume his soul, he starts eating the wood table and swallowing all the wood
Oh
splinters.
yeah, yes, yes, and he's literally
Jesus.
you literally see the gouged teeth and stuff that he already ate from the knife ripping into this wooden table, and just
So,
there is so much body
yeah,
horror in this. Like this last what 45 minutes,
it
50
has to
minutes of
be
is just I mean, it's fucking grotesque. It's fucking gnarly, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I love it or if I fucking hate it. Like it's it's not my kind of horror. I will say that, but
I
it is a lot of people's kind of horror, so I can appreciate that.
I I guess I've gotten to a point where I want all the horror, I want all the deranged stuff, I want all of it, but JP and I can agree unless it comes to kids. So in this instance, this was a little rough because it's happening to a kidnapped child, but the woman is clearly dealing with grief and she is trying to bring her daughter back. So bring her back. And the way that this hunger that's hitting Ollie, or Connor is the real name of this kid. Um, the hunger is all this kid cares about. It's not an evil thing. It's not. That's where I said he wasn't quite evil earlier. So you don't know if this is really angel or demonic or what. But he just has to fulfill this
He has to,
consumption.
yeah, he has to consume the body that he's there to consume, and in this meantime of her trying to get to the point for him to be ready to eat it, he's trying to eat anything to feel this hunger.
Yeah, this movie takes a quick turn too because there's a altercation between Andy and the after he gets back from the hospital, there's an altercation between Andy and Laura where Laura is trying to provoke him because remember Piper's blind so she can only hear what's going on. So Laura is painting this picture on a volume level so that it seems like Andy's the bad guy. Everything she screams, everything's got a placed reason and blaming him. And Piper starts screaming, stop it, Andy," because she believes her brother is the one doing these things. At one point, she takes his phone because he's already videoed Ollie acting like the weirdo that he is, and she takes the phone and smashes it, and then he proceeds to throw her against the wall and punches a hole through the wall so he doesn't hurt her, even to restrain himself further.
And he does end up going to social services, or what would be the equivalent of social services wherever they're at, and brings a social worker to check on this. And when
Well,
you find out at this point that the foster mom worked for the social services
for
people,
20 years.
and so they completely trust this woman.
Yes. Until her daughter passed, which is why they think she's a great candidate because she's moved forward, she's a therapist, and she's able to take these kids because she's already been a parent herself. Now, the social service person was that woman's name was Wendy, I believe. Wendy comes back with Andy. She doesn't wanna call Laura, or he doesn't want her to call Laura, doesn't wanna give her a heads up. He's like, "We have to go there, we have to go there," and he even shows the missing poster of Connor to this woman saying, "This boy is at the house," and she's not listening. She's like, "We trust her. We she worked for 20 years." So they end up going back to the house. In this time, Laura has done the quickest cleanup I've ever seen. That was one of my little gripes. That
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
quite a
it's
little
real
bit of a
quick.
yeah, but she does it. She at least masks and makes it look like it's all tidy and honky dory and we're good. But uh, at towards the end, she makes a mistake. She reaches up from her robe and she goes to itch her face, and there's blood in her hand still, and it hits her face. So this Wendy person catches on. She's like, "Hey, what? You're bleeding. Are you okay?" And all of a sudden, Andy's screaming. The Wendy woman runs to Andy. She breaks free from Laura. Laura falls on the ground crying. Andy shows her Ollie consuming Kathy's face. Kathy, her daughter, she's kept in a deep freezer.
Yeah.
And so Ollie is literally eating her at that moment, in which Wendy and Andy go to escape. And I have to say, I don't know how you felt, JP, but I watched this scene. Maybe I'm a sadistic asshole, but I watched this scene back like 3 or 4 times. The way Wendy's body just folds in front of that F-150. Oh my God.
Yeah, this scene was pretty shocking to me. I wasn't expecting this scene to happen like this with Wendy and Andy uh getting hit by this truck, and especially what happened to Wendy, And then what happened with Andy even after this, he's still alive. He's severely injured. He's probably going to die from his injuries, but um she comes up and drowns him in a puddle. And I was not expecting. I will say that was very unexpected that they killed essentially the main character of this film.
Yeah, the so up until this point, he was definitely the main character. And during this time, by the way, Piper is at a rec center. Piper's not there. She's dropped her off so she can take care of what she needs to. And so she doesn't see any of this happening. So Wendy's been folded by this truck because Laura came out of nowhere with this truck full blast, crashes Wendy's body into her own car. Andy's severely injured. He's got his half of his face is outside of the water, half his face laying in the puddle, so he's breathing but barely. And Laura just comes over and just slowly tucks his face into the water and holds him down. And you see him try and struggle until his hand just goes limp, and that's it. Then she goes and picks up Piper like nothing happened.
You know, and well, and this is this is my other problem with this film. Have you ever tried to move dead weight?
Oh yeah, it sucks.
As little as she is, as little the woman as she is, I am led to believe that she drug Andy and Wendy's body from outside to inside that fucking house.
I mean, if you're just dragging, I can drag quite a bit of weight. So I mean, I,
Yeah,
it's
but this
whatever.
this woman looked like she weighed 90 pounds, and Wendy looked like she weighed 250, 300 pounds.
All right, that's an example of overanalyzing, JP. Let's just let the movie progress, okay?
I'm just saying, there's no way that she scooted that dead body weight into that house.
No, there's definitely not a realistic approach to that, but I mean, maybe she had the demon helper. I don't know. Maybe Ollie's capable of that. I don't know. No, but so our blind girl, the new protagonist, comes back from the rec center because Laura has gone and picked her up. There's a mom who is addressing. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. At one point, Laura walks into her bedroom at night while she's trying to frame Andy, and she smacks the shit out of Piper. Like
Yeah.
smacks, like gives her just a fucking black eye. And
She
when
sprays herself with Andy's cologne.
yeah, and that way Piper smells the smell of her brother and associates it, and so the brother's like, What's going on? What's going on? Who did this to you? Who did this to you?" And he's blaming Laura, but Laura keeps blaming him. And Piper says, "I could only smell you." So when they're at the rec center and getting picked up by Laura, a mom that's concerned sees the black eye and wants to talk to her about the black eye. Laura lashes back quickly and just proceeds to leave after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so when Piper gets back, again, she can't see much of what's going on. She just knows that something feels off, and she gets upstairs to, or maybe it's downstairs, I don't remember, but she's in a room with Andy's body,
She's in the
and
bathroom.
yeah,
She puts him in the bathroom.
and this part gripped at my heartstrings for
Yeah.
sure because they had a word so they knew when they weren't joking around and things were over is grapefruit.
Mhm.
And she's crying. She can feel her brother and his lifeless body, and she's crying and going, "Grapefruit, grapefruit, Andy." And I'm like, no, like it was a deep moment for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a sad moment, especially because, you know, you got this blind girl that depended on her brother for a lot of things that she did, and then now he's dead, you know, and she knows it, and she understands in this moment that her brother was telling the truth.
And she goes, "Well, what happened to Andy?" And Laura's, "He had an accident." And she's like, "Okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is when things start kind of turning, like Piper realizing this because she's not a dumb girl. She's just blind, and
Yeah.
she is really, really intuitive and really smart at this point, and everything starts coming together a little for her.
Yeah, and she ends up getting what happens? I can't remember. She gets knocked out somehow, and she drags her out to the pool to drown her like her daughter was, because the boy has already consumed, and he is like, you visually showing that he's ready to eject this fluid and soul to put into this next body.
Yeah, so she's on a time. Laura feels like she's on a time constraint. So you've got Piper now in the pool, getting ready to be drowned. She comes to, and she remembers that at one point Laura goes, "I would give anything to hear my daughter say 'mommy' one more time." So quick thinking Piper, "Mommy?" And so she feels like this moment she heard it. And all of a sudden, you see kind of a moment of regret almost with Laura.
Mm.
And she tries to almost negate what she's done, but it's too late.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but she ends up getting out. She gets away,
Yeah.
and uh, she takes off running through the woods, the police end up showing up, and um, they find her. Well, the cops, the police, they swarm this house. The boy has ejected this soul. We'll just call it a soul. It's fluid. It's a dark black fluid. He runs off back to the edge of the circle, doesn't he? Because they find him in the
Yeah,
woods. They find him in the
right,
woods.
right, yeah.
And when the cops come up to the home, they find the mother and the daughter half consumed, curled up together in the pool together. And the boy has his memories back. He's like, I don't know, help me. He's begging for help.
Yeah, he can talk now and because the things left his body, but that boy's got so much trauma. I hope to God I don't know if it was clarified if he can remember things or not, but that boy went through a lot of trauma, so he's got some surgeries ahead of him. Um
Even if he doesn't remember everything that happened, physically he's going to have so much
Oh, yeah.
trauma.
Yeah, without a doubt. I just literally, like, sucked my mouth together, feeling my palate and imagining that knife. Oh my god. Anyways, I feel like a lot of the effects here were definitely practical effects, and that was another big thing for me too. At least came across as practical. If there was CGI, I hope it was minimal because I was here for most everything we got in this movie didn't disappoint. There is another part of this, for like Talk to Me, Bring Her Back universe because they're in the same universe that's supposed to be coming out that'll kind of bridge these things further. But in an interview, the Filippo brothers said something to the effect of, "It's happening on the same street. I would hate to be their neighbor," is what he said, which was weird for me because Talk to Me, I think, was America. This wasn't. So we'll see how that all.
I thought Talk to Me was like in Australia or someplace. Because isn't this in Australia?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought Talk to Me was in Australia as well.
Well, if it is, then I'm wrong, but that's, but either way, if I'm curious to see where they go from this, and I hope it's in the same direction they're heading because Talk to Me did not pull me in, and I've talked about this too, but it's one of those movies that made me not wanna see Bring Her Back, initially, and I would have been really sad if I'd slept on it. There's a lot of movies I've slept on recently, and I went back to and watched, and I was like, "Holy shit, why was I not watching this sooner?" And this is definitely one of them that I didn't watch right away. I actually thought about going to the theater, but Talk to Me was so meh that I didn't. So this is a solid movie. I was happy we watched it, and this one was one of the better ones in 2025 for me so far.
I'll get there in my review.
Fair.
Uh, Box office budget.
I picked this and I didn't look. It's
I
so
didn't look
funny.
either. I didn't look
Okay.
either.
Well, I can
So
pull it up
if you
real
want to
quick.
pull it up real quick, I'm gonna go with the budget. I'm just gonna off the seat of my pants. I'm gonna say between 8 and 10 million.
A little off, but not far. Estimated budget was 15 million.
Okay.
And do you have any guess on the gross? There's a
Gross.
there.
I think this movie did okay. I don't think it bombed. I don't think it did great either. I'm gonna say 20 million.
So gross US and Canada was just shy of 20 million. Gross worldwide was 40 million.
Okay. All right. So if I was doing domestic, I would have been on it.
Yep.
So
No, I don't think this movie did horrible by any means. And gross worldwide, I mean, you went more than double what your budget was. I don't know what their hopes are for those numbers with the studios, but I hope this is enough to keep them going because, again, I want to see where they go from here.
yeah, this is definitely 10 steps up from the Talk to Me movie because that was just garbage.
I didn't, so I enjoyed it, but at the same time, it was like okay, like it wasn't beautiful, it wasn't amazing, it did nothing. Like I don't want to rewatch it, but this movie definitely was completely different. I think I've seen this movie already 3 or 4 times at this point. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and dive into my review of this. So, practical effects are amazing. The story itself is it's a fun story. I love the idea of this woman wanting her daughter back so much that she actually dives into whether she thinks it's an angel or a demon. She goes to an extreme of whatever level This is an extreme level to bring your daughter back, and it's so it becomes an interesting story. The scenes are almost all the scenes make you uneasy in some capacity. This film, start to finish, will make you a bit uneasy. I will say the first 40 minutes of this film, outside of the opening hook, is kind of a bog. But after that first 40 minutes, this movie picks up, and it's good. It's damn good. The body horror is extreme, and this may sound weird of me because I love films like Terrifier and things like that. Films like that have a lot of body horror. Even movies like The Reanimator, has a lot of body horror. And you go to some of these older 80s films that have a lot of body horror that I like. This is a whole fucking different level of body horror. This is, I want to say that it's not for me. That this type of body horror is not for me because I just cringed the whole fucking time. I fucking cringed to the point that I hated it. So, that being said, I will never watch this movie again.
Oh no.
I will never watch this movie again. And I'm not saying that because it's a bad movie. It's actually a good movie. And if you like this type of horror and this type of body horror, and you're going to fucking love this film. I'm going to rate this movie high, but I'm going to rate this movie high with the idea of it's not going to be for everybody. But I can't deny that the film is a fucking amazing horror film. But it's just an amazing horror film that I never want to watch again. So I'm going to put this one in at a 3.9 nerds.
Woo! All right. After how much you hated to talk to me, I didn't expect that high, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, and yeah, if this was anything like Talk to Me, this film would have been like a 1 point something. Like I fucking hated Talk to Me. This movie is good. This movie's damn good. It's just this isn't a movie for me. This isn't going to be a movie for everybody. This movie gets pretty extreme, and it's a hard watch. But I can't deny that this movie is a fucking good horror film because it is.
So for me, uh the movies that I'll never watch again either are really crappy or they're too much. I'm gonna say the name of a film I vowed never to speak even the name again. But a Serbian film. That's one of those films that I watched that once. I walked out 3 times while I was watching it. My friend who asked us to watch it, I told him he's one of my best friends. I told him I hated him every time I walked out, and I came back in because I waited for the scene to be done. That movie is one of those ones that's to a whole another level of fuckery that I won't fuck with again. So that one is kind of where my line in the sand's drawn. So this stuff, like I'm here for Bring Her Back. This is an amazing film. I said I've already watched it 3 or 4 times. I like the concept. I like the fact that we're dealing with a possession film, but it's a controlled possession, which is interesting because usually it's not a controllable scenario. So those things combined with a solid story, and even like I told JP this earlier too, but like I like when the pacing might feel slow, but you're still invested in that slow time because there's so much going on. You have so many more questions that leaves your mind open to imagination. You can kind of take it where you need to in your head, but with keeping those questions, you still are drawn in. So when I got to that 43-minute mark and we saw the knife and the teeth, that was that one that hooked me right there. I was good with that 43-minute wait. I love the story. I love the unfolding of the way everything happened. I like that we were kind of blindsided with a main character kind of taken out. Wasn't expecting that. All these things made for an amazing film to me. I'm right with JP on this one, with 4 nerds for me. I took this up into the fours. I probably would have gone higher, but Talk to Me, unfortunately, is in the same universe. And Talk to Me, I'm also right with JP. I probably would have put it at 2 nerds in that realm for that. So Bring Her Back is leaps and bounds above Talk to Me. And it's the best thing that the Filippo brothers have done yet, but they're still new and they're still young, and I think they still got a lot to show us.
All right, you got any film recommendations?
Mm. Yes, and it's one I'm going to try and get you to watch. It's a. Oh wait, did I already talk about it? I think I already said Match. I already talked about Match.
I know you did a reel for it, didn't we?
I
Didn't
did,
you?
but I think I suggested it on a previous episode. But Match is a Tubi exclusive, and I loved it. I think, yeah, I did talk about it because I talked about how the director
You
engaged
did.
with us.
Yes, yes, you did.
So okay, so let me go away from that, and I'll go to here. Give us your recommendation while I'm
Okay.
remembering what I got.
So this is one I'm going to make you watch at some point here in the near future. Maybe once we get past the holiday films. This one I watched this past week, and it's an indie film. It's an indie kind of horror, more suspense thriller type film. Stars uh oh my god, what the fuck's his name? I know it. I know his name. Oh, Ethan Embry. Stars Ethan Embry of all fucking people. You don't hear that named often anymore. You remember Ethan Embry?
No.
Ethan Embry from Empire Records, and he was in Vegas Vacation. He played Rusty in Vegas Vacation. He
Oh
played
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
he
I
played
know
in
what
the
you're talking
t
about.
yeah he played in the TV series Freaky Links. I always liked Ethan Embry, and I watched this film solely on the fact that it's an older Ethan Embry, and he's doing an indie film, and it's a film called Alma and the Wolf, and this movie it's an odd one, man. I mean, it's pretty low budget, but it looks great. It looks really good. Some of the dialogue is a little campy, but man, the payoff in this movie is really good. Now, it's I'm not going to say this movie is completely original, and there's not other films similar to what this film does, but I fucking love this film. It's almost like a modern day indie film werewolf version of like a Edgar Allan Poe story of sorts. Like it's very unique in that aspect. Like I really liked it. So Alma and the Wolf is what it's called.
Um, my recommendation that I just watched, and I also did a little video on. It's a high budget one. It's a big blockbuster, or at least I thought it would be. But I have to rave about this movie, Tron Ares. I'm sorry if you saw it and you disagree, JP, but
No, I've not
uh,
seen it yet.
so I didn't watch it, and I didn't go to the theater, and I'm pissed off that I didn't go to the theater because of all the negative hype behind it. And this is where, like, speaking of drawing lines in the sand, I'm not listening to Rotten Tomatoes ever again. I'm not listening to people anymore. I'm just watching movies for my goddamn self because this movie, I let it be a movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It sequentially lines up with the original Tron and Tron Legacy. They have a whole different array of characters, which they handled the transition into those characters nicely. There's different servers happening in this movie, and the servers are timepieces, if you will. So we even get the old school Tron graphics in this one, and I would loved it. And then the main premise is there is a search for something called permanence code, so that these programs can come into the real world. But they start coming into the real world in small little inklings, and the story unfolds from there. And it's worth a watch. I love it, and anyone that liked the Tron universe and the first two Tron movies, you'll dig this. You should at least.
Well,
Even Jared Leto's okay.
and that's what you said in your 1 minute review was like the people were complaining that they were in the real world, and when you said that, I was like, well, that's where Tron Legacy kind of set it up because
I mean, where else are they going to go?
that's where the girl was part of the she was a computer program. She came out with him with the son into the real world, you know. So that was to me at the end of Tron Legacy where this film was coming, where it was supposed
Yeah,
to go. So it was to the real world.
he already gave the permanence code to her, so she already is out there. So there's a search for this permanence code still, and it's so well set up for another one that I would hate to see that not happen because of stupidity and online people thinking they're the experts of what should happen in movies.
We'll find out in another 10 years.
Maybe if we're lucky, but that's all I got.
uh, yeah, I do want to see it. I wasn't anti not going to see it. I hadn't had time, and I've been, you know, dealing with other shit and haven't been to the theater in a couple weeks. But that one was one I wanted to go see, and I haven't. And now we're recording this, and this is the week that this comes out a week after this movie comes out, but it comes out this weekend. The new Predator film is
Yeah, I'm
out,
excited about this. I'm really
so I'm really thinking about trying to go watch the Predator this week, because I do want to go see it. So there's been a few things out. Tron was one of them, but I'm probably gonna have to wait for digital for it. It is still in the theaters. I did see that it is still in one of the theaters down here. I thought about it, but I'm probably gonna
so
wait for digital.
so you're prepping for tour, and so we're batch recording these now. But how about we go see the Predator and we simultaneously release our 1 minute little things or whatever reels, and we'll see where we stand with it.
Okay,
We'll
we can do
compare
that.
them.
We can do that because I'm gonna probably try to go tomorrow or Friday.
I think the same here. So
Okay. All right. All right. Well, CineNerdsPodcast.com. That's where you can get all your CineNerds goodies. And there's all of our Spotify links. There's our Apple Podcast links. There's our YouTube links. There's all this stuff. I want you to share this stuff. Share our YouTube. Share our Apple Podcast. Get people to subscribe, like, follow, leave reviews. Do all this stuff. You can do all this stuff from CineNerdsPodcast.com. I have everything on there. You can follow mine and Ryan's letterboxes there. You can follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook. I know Ryan has his more private. I've been sharing my stuff, like my 1 minute recommendations from my personal Facebook, but I've been attaching them to the Cine Nerds Facebook. So I've been re-uploading those reels up to our YouTube channel. So check all this stuff out. It's out there in multiple locations. You can follow us on TikTok. You can follow the Nerdy Viking on TikTok where he's posting his 1 minute reviews. So all this stuff is there, and I haven't got his Nerdy Viking link to the .com, but I'm probably going to do that since he's doing his 1 minute reviews from his Nerdy Viking TikTok.
so with that, I just so you know, on the Nerdy Viking, I kind of made a personal page. So I've got all sorts of weird shit on there, but we'll be posting my movie stuff on there too. And then typically, because JP has the access to our TikTok, so typically I just post on there. He grabs it and throws it on our Cine Nerds one too. So if you're not following mine, that's fine. If you want to just stick to the Cine Nerds.
All righty. And there's also on CineNerdsPodcast.com, there is a shop. What can they find on that shop there, Ryan?
They could find hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs. And by the way, I was told recently that the coffee mug was not meant for the dishwasher and it was not meant for the microwave by our lovely company that does it. And I figured, hey, I'll buy another one if it doesn't work out. So I've been testing it. And let me tell you, Angie, your product holds up. Seemingly Perfect Designs is the name of the company. I haven't had any issues. My coffee mug's amazing. Normally I live in my hoodie. I'm not wearing it now, but I love all the stuff we're getting out of there. So check it out.
And I have been using my coffee mug like crazy too, because I've been drinking since quitting smoking. I've been drinking a lot of coffee, so I've been using my CineNerds coffee mug a lot. So,
Cool.
all righty. Until next week, and next week we're getting ready to get into our Thanksgiving theme stuff. So next week, be here for planes, trains, and automobiles.
We're taking it back with the classic on this one.
All right. Till next time.
Later.
Peace.